I was 16 when it happened back then. I spent most weekends digging through garage sales around my town looking for old games. It wasn't just about collecting rare items or making money. I just loved finding forgotten pieces of gaming history. One rainy Saturday morning, I stopped at a garage sale on the edge of town. Most of the items were junk: broken lamps, old books, rusted tools. But sitting in a cardboard box beneath the folding table was a stack of Nintendo 64 games. Most were common titles. Then I saw something strange: a gray cartridge with no label. The seller was an older man who looked exhausted. When I asked about it, he stared at the cartridge for several seconds before answering. "Take it. What game is it?" "I don't know," he said too quickly. I offered him $5 anyway. He shook his head. "Just take it." As I walked away, he called after me, "If it starts making noises, turn it off." I laughed, assuming it was some weird joke. I wish I had listened. At home, I plugged the cartridge into my N64. The screen remained black for nearly 20 seconds. Then a title appeared. The logo read, "The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time." But something was wrong. The colors looked faded. The music sounded distorted, as though it were being played underwater. I assumed the cartridge was damaged. Still, it booted. The save file screen appeared. 3 save slots. The first 2 were empty. The third was named Daniel. I didn't know any Daniel. The save had 72 hours of playtime. Curious, I loaded it. Link appeared in Hyrule Field, except it wasn't Hyrule Field. The sky was completely gray. No clouds, no sun, no music. Even stranger, there were no enemies. No NPCs, nothing. Just Link standing in an empty world. I walked towards Castletown. The gates were open. Inside, every building was empty. The market music was gone. There wasn't a single character anywhere. No guards, no merchants, no dogs, nothing. The only sound was Link's footsteps. The emptiness felt deliberate, not a glitch, like something had removed everyone. I explored for nearly 20 minutes. Then I entered the Temple of Time. The moment Link stepped inside, the game froze. I reset the console. When the game restarted, the save file had changed. Now it read, "Daniel?" A question mark had appeared. I was certain it hadn't been there before. I loaded it again. This time, Link spawned inside the Temple of Time. Standing directly in front of him was another Link. The model looked normal at first, then it turned. Its face had no eyes, no mouth, just smooth skin. The game emitted a loud burst of static. I nearly dropped the controller. The faceless Link slowly walked towards me. No animation, no sound, just sliding forward. Then the screen cut to black. Words appeared. "You are not Daniel." I remembered staring at the television. My stomach dropped. The save file vanished. Only one file remained. My own name. I had never entered my name. Not once. Yet there it was. My exact first name, correctly spelled. I checked the controller. No one was playing a joke. I lived alone with my mother, and she was at work. I loaded the file. Link now stood outside his house in Kokiri Forest. The area looked normal. Birds chirped, music played, everything seemed fine for a moment. For a moment, I thought the strange behavior had ended. Then I entered Link's house. A body was lying on the bed. It was Link. Another Link stood beside the bed, the one I controlled. The dead Link's eyes were open. The game had no corpse models, no death animations like this, yet there it was, motionless, watching. The room was silent. The music had stopped. I backed out of the house immediately. The cartridge began producing sounds, not through the television, through the cartridge itself, a faint buzzing noise. At first I thought I imagined it. Then I held my ear closer. Voices, whispers, tiny and distorted. I remembered the old man's warning. "If it starts making noise, turn it off." Instead, I kept playing that night. That night, I reached what appeared to be the final area. The entire world was inaccessible except for a narrow path leading to a massive black doorway floating in empty space. No textures, no scenery, just darkness. When Link entered, the game loaded a room unlike anything from Ocarina of Time. Rows of stone statues lined the walls. Each statue resembled a player character. Different tunics, different names, different faces. There were dozens, maybe hundreds. As I walked through the hall, text appeared above each statue. Names, save file names, random names. Michael, Chris, Amanda, Ethan, Sarah. Names from previous players, or so I assumed. At the very end of the hall stood a single empty pedestal. As Link approached, a text appeared. The name was mine. I immediately shut off the console. For several minutes I sat in silence, trying to convince myself it was some fan-made ROM hack. Some creepy modification, nothing supernatural, nothing impossible, just a prank. Eventually I went to sleep around 3 a.m. I woke up, the television was on, the N64 sat powered on. I knew for a fact I had turned it off. The cartridge was running, the room glowed with blue light. On screen was the Temple of Time. The faceless Link stood directly in front of the camera, watching. The game wasn't paused, it was moving, breathing. The camera slowly zoomed closer and closer and closer. Then text appeared. You left. Another line appeared. Daniel left too. I pulled the power cable from the wall. The television went dark. The next morning I searched online. No results, no ROM hacks matching what I had seen. No discussions, nothing. Then I searched specifically for missing people connected to old gaming forums. Eventually I found an archived message board from the early 2000s. One post caught my attention. The username was Daniel. His final message read, "Found a strange Zelda cartridge at a flea market. Weird save file, probably haunted, lol." The post was dated 15 years earlier. There was no later messages. The account never posted again. I drove back to the garage sale address. The house was empty. A neighbor told me the owner had died years ago. Years. Not weeks, not months. Years. The sale had never happened. The property had been abandoned. I never played the cartridge again. I locked it inside a metal box and stored it in my attic. For nearly 10 years it stayed there, untouched, forgotten. At least that's what I thought. Last month I was moving houses. While packing, I opened the box. The cartridge was gone. No signs of theft, no damage, nothing. Just empty space where it should have been. I assumed I had misplaced it, until I checked my old N64. Inside the console was a cartridge, gray, no label, exactly where I had first inserted it, as though it had never been removed. I don't remember putting it there. Maybe I did, maybe I forgot, but that's not the part that scares me. The part that scares me is what appeared on the screen when I turned on the console. 3 save files. The first was empty, the second was empty, the third had a name. Not mine, not Daniel's, yours.